Are trees designed to make neighbors hate each other? Hey everyone. We got a story today out of the UK, and they don't mess around with neighbors and trees. It's a little different than in the United States, I'm guessing. It all depends on where you live, of course. Um, I just want to say we got to 20 subscribers, so that's just wonderful. I I never thought I could get 20 subscribers in less than a month. So thank you for that. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Schenk, and I am the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. We are a boutique brokerage. We specialize in residential and some light commercial leasing and sales. Our podcast, our YouTube channel, discusses HOAs, neighbors, property disputes, landlord-tenant disputes, things of that nature. And we try not to be too heavy. Nobody needs that. So, if you'd like that sort of thing, please consider clicking the subscribe button. And if not, just watch. Enjoy yourself. Go to our channel sometime, Deerwood Realty STL on YouTube. So, today's story, like I said, was it was over in the UK. So, that was kind of interesting. And I wanted to bring it up to you. It says, tree cut in half in neighbor row over driveway pigeon poo. And I just wanted you to see the picture, if you can see it right here. That's how that was solved. And so there's another look of it right there. That's how they fixed the tree. But I wanted to go over kind of the neighbor inner workings. So we'll just kind of go through like some highlights. So here we go. We'll just go right there. Now, this is going to be like a little short story. So the fellow has a driveway, and on that driveway he puts his car. Well, pigeons from the tree next door dive bomb his car and his drive. Okay, so poor guy's sitting there, minding his own business. Maybe he gets his car washed, puts it in front of his house on the drive, and within 5 minutes there's pigeon poo everywhere. And so that obviously, doesn't sit well with the fellow. And so he goes to his neighbor and he says, "Hey man, your tree is causing pigeons to poo all over my car and my house." Okay. And so in this story, there were several discussions about trimming it back or even installing nets around it. So can you imagine, like, your neighbor's upset about pigeon poo? And I totally understand this one. And so then you go to your neighbor and you just have a polite discussion. You say, "Hey, can you put a net around it?" So I thought that was fascinating. That's not how we would do it over here, I don't think. Well, it turns out in the article that these people have been neighbors for 28 years. So this tree is, likely been an issue for at least, one or two. And the neighbor called a certified arborist. And what I think is funny is, so now there may be like a different use of the word in England versus here, but an arborist is considered like someone that's an expert with trees. And so like the arborist said this would be okay for the tree to cut it straight in half. And then now the tree has become a tourist attraction. So people are driving and saying, look at this tree. And one of the quotes in the article says, "We've got a lot of pigeons, hundreds of them. We live in the country, and you've just got to accept these things." And that's what a lady said. And my question to that is, do you? Just because your neighbor has a tree sitting over your property, do you have to accept birds going to the bathroom all over your car and your drive? And then it's always funny, like, think about yourself in this situation. It's easy to stand back and say, the guy was, he's just being a jerk. He should let all these, pigeons just go all over the place. And my question would be then, does this particular woman have a tree that's sitting over, or has a tree that's sitting over her drive in a bird is going all over the place on her car. Because perspective matters. We have lots of tree stories, and from the story in Massachusetts where the people went to the health department and said that the trees were going to kill them because the limbs were going to fall down. This is not something unusual. I don't normally put out that there's been murders over trees. Well, there was this terrible racist incident in Indianapolis about the tree. So then, one of the things I would say is, in the article it says the tree might die, and I was wondering if those of you in St. Louis, if you remember when there was this terrible power outage due to some fallen tree limbs during an ice storm, and Ameren came in, which is the utility company, and said they're going to fix the problem, and so they just started cutting down, or they paid contractors to cut down trees, the limbs from the lines, and so I can remember driving down Mackenzie and seeing just a U cut in the middle of a tree, and it's pretty wild. I don't know if a tree can live like that. I think a lot of the people ended up getting their trees just cut down afterwards because it looked so stupid. But I was wondering if that's the case other places in the world or in the country where the power company can come in any time and just slice off, half of the tree. So, that being said, I do have a real estate tip, and it's not something that would be obvious. So, when you're looking at a house, okay, and you're looking at the yard, like check on the trees. Okay, are there trees growing over your property, and is that something that you would enjoy or you'd be okay with? And the reason I say if it's not, move. Don't buy the house. And the reason why I say that is because, if you buy this house and you immediately pay somebody to cut the trees back, your neighbor's going to hate you forever. Now you're living next to somebody that's just not going to be happy with you. So it's not worth it. It's not worth the trouble. Just find a house that doesn't have a bunch of trees overhanging your property, and they are out there. So that's my tip. And then I'm going to do a side note today. I don't know how well this will be received, but it's something it's happening to me, and I was just curious to what the internet thinks because the collective is much brighter than I am. So I represent buyers all the time, okay? And then after the deal closes, what ends up happening is the security alarm companies call me, and they say, you have a security situation at this house. You should have your buyer. You should give me your buyer's contact information, and we'll sell them this wonderful security system. And I don't respond, and I don't want to have anything to do with these people. But what I wanted to know from you is this something that your agent's ever done to you? So have you been sitting at home, your brand new house, and then all of a sudden you get a bunch of calls from the security company or, alarm company saying, your agent gave us your phone number and we know that you need a security system? To me, it's wrong. My buyers can have as much anonymity as possible. So it's not for me to be giving random people or random salespeople my buyer's contact information. And what I was curious about, does this market even work in 2021? I mean, you've literally got a fellow sitting there calling all day long, watching for transactions to be done, and then calling the buyer's agent on all these transactions every day. And it's like, what's the point? Does it really work? It just annoys me. I know two companies that are doing this, okay, and they're the big ones. So I automatically, if somebody asks me like, hey, do you know a security company? I'm automatically going to say I would not choose those two. I wouldn't say their names. I'd say somebody else. So, but what do you think? Is it ethical for me to give my buyer's contact information to these random salespeople that call me? I don't think it is, but I was curious to see what you thought. And so that's today. Not a long one. Trees are an issue. We've learned that. And the best thing I can say is, buy a house that doesn't have trees overhanging it. Or if you like the trees overhanging it, buy it for that reason. But don't be surprised when these disputes happen. Between this and dead animals being flung into yards, I mean, it's bad. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hope you all have a wonderful afternoon, and I will catch you on the next one.